All right. Hello and welcome. Doug Diamond here. Hope you guys are doing well. It is 10:11 p.m. on May the 21st, Sunday night, 2023. And yeah, so I am live streaming on YouTube and my main Facebook page, my profile page. However, we are not live streaming on the Diamond Report page tonight. So if you happen to be trying to get in that way, my apologies. I put a notice on there saying to go to the other, Diamond Disc page on Facebook. So my apologies. They changed the stream key on me, and I didn't know that until I'd already started the live stream. So welcome to Facebook, huh? All right. Yeah, so you have reached the Diamond Report Live. This is Doug Diamond, and let's take a look at the news. We've got a few things to look at tonight. Quite a few articles pulled up. For those following along on Telegram, I did a really short, well, I guess it was under an hour, 40-some minute live stream earlier today where I was just going through the news. I call that my show prep show. So what I do there is I'm literally just going through what I'm going to talk about tonight and do a special separate show, and it's basically just me going through everything I'm going to discuss. So anyway, I don't know if you guys happen to catch that. It was really only on DLive and Telegram. I mostly was just doing that to make sure I could live stream to Telegram because I hadn't really done that before. And yeah, everything worked good. So that's a plus. We have Telegram as a backup. So if you're not on Telegram, I suggest you definitely get on there because there's no censorship on Telegram. At least not that I've ever noticed. Nobody's ever stopped me from saying anything on Telegram, unlike Facebook or YouTube. So let's get into the news. We've got a few things to look at. I've got HalTurnerRadioshow.com pulled up. Got a few articles here. We'll just look at the headlines on his site at the moment. We have Russian bombers airborne, explosions now in Odessa. This is dated today, so just a little while ago, I guess. There's been a number of earthquakes lately, and Hal has been dutifully reporting on them. The last one was a 6.8 quake off of South Africa, which that's a bit unusual, that location. There's been several others near Australia. Here was one of the other earthquakes near Australia, 7.4, and a tsunami warning was issued. A tsunami and a 7.4, that would be fairly unusual, and any sort of tsunami would be very small, I would think. You really have to start watching for an actual large tsunami at about an 8.0 or larger earthquake, from what I have learned about anyway. And let's see here. There was another earthquake just on the 19th, so 7.7. So that's nearing that 8.0 threshold. So yeah, there was one on the 19th, which was just a couple days ago. So anyway, yeah, feel free to look at HalTurnerRadioshow.com if you want to, and he's always got some interesting news and information on there. Technocracy.news, your DNA can now be pulled out of thin air. All right, well, let's see what it says. DNA is the foundation of life. It is found throughout the environment. Because of shedding, humans leave a continuous trail of DNA that can be measured and sequenced. Genetic scientists have now discovered how to easily sequence environmental DNA called eDNA. So they have a name for it. The implications to privacy and sanctuary are absolutely staggering, and police and intelligence units are salivating to get their hands on it. Over the last decade, wildlife researchers have refined techniques for recovering environmental DNA, eDNA, trace amounts of genetic material that all living things leave behind. A powerful and inexpensive tool for ecologists, eDNA is all over, floating in the air or lingering in water, snow, honey, or even your cup of tea. Researchers have used the method to detect invasive species before they take over, to track vulnerable or secretive wildlife populations, or even to rediscover species thought to be extinct. The eDNA technology is also used in wastewater surveillance systems to monitor COVID and other pathogens. Yes, I've heard about that. It says, but all along, scientists using eDNA were quietly recovering gobs and gobs of human DNA. To them, it's pollution, a sort of human genomic bycatch muddying their data. But what if someone set out to collect human eDNA on purpose? So that's what this article is about. Feel free to take a look at this if you want to. Technocracy.news. Yes, they think human DNA is mostly junk. So that's something that Anthony Patch talks about, DNA at length a lot. This is back on Hal Turner's website. Facebook deletes Jesus as hate speech. A Facebook user named Billy Hallowell posted "Jesus died so you can live," quote unquote, on his account and found it was deleted by Facebook as hate speech. Hallowell shared about this on Twitter, backed up by screenshots and a comment stating that the incident was, in his opinion, very, very bizarre. Well, not if you know how things work. It certainly isn't. He says, "I'm sorry, what? I've appealed, but what in the ever-loving world?" ? And it's talking about the your post goes against our community standards on hate speech because he dared to say the words, "Jesus died so you could live." There's also been an appeals process which didn't help. Whoever, whatever, reviews these complaints over on Facebook stuck to their guns. Yeah, I don't think it's humans. I've had lots of things reviewed like that, and they just like YouTube, they always just confirm their original findings, which tells me it's just AI, and they just make you think that you're actually being listened to, which you're not. We have removed your post from Facebook. So anyway, this goes into more detail here if you want to read about it. But I'm not surprised at all. WND.com, World Economic Forum order governments to arrest citizens who read fake news online. So this would no doubt be yours truly and everyone listening to this program. The WEF has ordered world governments to ban independent media, making it illegal to read non-mainstream news sources and fill prisons with people who share opinions or articles deemed false by so-called fact-checkers. The Trudeau regime was the first WEF-controlled government to outlaw independent media, meaning Canadians who share articles or posts online that are deemed false by fact-checkers are liable to arrest and a hefty prison sentence. Trudeau's internet censorship legislation, Bill C-11, has now become law after Canadian senators voted last week to pass the bill. This should come as no surprise. The Canadian government has been completely penetrated by the WEF. Yes, and Klaus used that actual word, that the cabinet has been penetrated. So what does that tell you? So anyway, this is what's happened in Canada. So watch out. Canada is some of the testing grounds. Australia and New Zealand, you're next. And after that, most likely the U.S. So just be ready, be ready. So that's on WND.com if you want to have a look. Futurism, this is an article I came across a little while ago. Influencer creates AI version of herself that you can rent as a girlfriend. I like how they call it Karen AI, but of course it's spelled with a C. That makes it different, I guess. Simply just an extension of me or an extension of my consciousness, she says. But she's a Karen. I don't know. Pretty wild. With the advent of AI chatbots, the ethics of parasocial relationships just keep getting murkier. Introducing Karen AI, a voice-based chatbot that was trained to mimic a human influencer to become your artificial girlfriend, just what you wanted, and at only $1 a minute. It's an absolute steal, it says. It's an absolute something. I wouldn't use the word steal. Yes, you read that right. Fortune reports Karen AI is the digital extension of 23-year-old influencer Karen Marjorie, who created a virtual version of herself with the help of AI firm Forever Voices and OpenAI's GPT-4. So there you go. That's where it's headed. That's what's coming next, apparently. Anything to keep men and women from actually being together in real life. Actual real men and real women. They don't want that. So you get your artificial relationships all day long. LeoHoman.com, third Australian province announces rollout of biometric digital identity. Bill introduced in the U.S. Congress would do the same for Americans. So, rollout of biometric digital identity. Victoria, Australia is said to be the third state in the land down under to roll out digital driver's licenses stored on citizens' smartphones, which for me means I couldn't drive. I don't own a smartphone. Citizens of Victoria can expect to obtain a new digital ID by next year, though a 6-month pilot program will be launched in July in the city of Ballarat. The new ID will provide 3 options: display of all of one's credentials and a unique barcode that can be scanned by law enforcement. Wouldn't that make it easy? Conceal the important data, yeah right, and only reveal your name and date of birth, or a third selection that displays only the user's date of birth. Like we're supposed to believe that. Each option displays a new QR code every 90 seconds as a precaution against hackers. So that if you're a hacker, all you have to do is wait 90 seconds. Government Services Minister Danny Pearson made a complete fool out of himself at a press conference last week, announcing the news like a clown selling snake oil at a carnival. Here's what he said. "This is such a glorious day, and I can't wait. I just can't wait. I gotta say, you're gonna love it. It's just going to be woo. It's so good. It's so good. It's so exciting." This guy actually was talking like this. Another citizen, clearly chosen for the propaganda show masquerading as a press conference, spoke about how she feels this will make her life so much easier and convenient. "It's going to make life a whole lot easier," she beamed, adding she and her friends are all thrilled. So you can watch the drivel here if you want to. It's embedded in the page. Who would have ever thought that selling digital slavery would be so easy? Oh boy, we get to get tagged and tracked with a digital QR code. Yippee! Yeah, so anyway, this is mentioning that it's also been introduced, the same type of bill has been introduced in Congress that would create a digital ID for all Americans, as it has been done in every other country that moves to digital IDs. The U.S. politicians who introduced Senate Bill 884 in the U.S. Senate, I think I mentioned that before on a previous show, claim that these digital tracking devices will make your life safer, more secure, and more convenient, and more mark of the beast-y. Anyway, yeah, the Leo Homan article is here. There's a lot to it here, so feel free to look at that if you want to. Outrage. North Dakota man who ran down and killed 18-year-old for being a Republican gets a reduced charge of manslaughter. Guys, you might remember this. I remember reporting on this last fall. September last year, a man named Shannon Brandt ran down and killed an 18-year-old in North Dakota for being a Republican and then claimed that he believed the victim was an extremist. So they have now reduced his charges to manslaughter. Surprised they didn't just let him go. So wow, to spit in the eye of his family. I mean, man. But again, I guess it shouldn't surprise us, huh? To America's liberal celebrity chef gets an exemption from the gas stove ban in California City. So if you're a liberal celebrity chef, you get to keep your gas stove in California. So you have to have the right politics, but you also have to make good food at a restaurant where the politicians want to go eat, so that, they know that if they shut down the gas stove, they can't go eat at their favorite restaurants. So that's what's going on here. Anyways, membership in the liberal elite has its privileges. You see, that kind of sums it up right there. All right, this is something that we don't really talk about much, but I came across this and thought I wanted to mention it and see what you guys think. Planet X, which, as you guys know, I've mentioned this, talked about this over here on my timeline, on the timeline that I've been working from here. Right here, Wormwood, a.k.a. Nibiru, or Planet X Returns, 2023 question mark. I would now change that. I don't think that's going to be this year, although I'm going to show you something that may show you that it could be as early as next year. We'll see. So keep in mind that this timeline was something that the white portion is a timeline that already existed. I added the red blocks back in 2019. So it's been that long, and that's why I had the question marks by it, because I wasn't real sure. I wasn't really getting any dates verified for me of any sort as far as when Planet X or Wormwood would return. Now, there's some debate about, okay, is Planet X and Wormwood even the same thing? So let's take a look at these articles I found. This is on YOWUSA.com, which is Marshall Masters' website. I've mentioned him before on other videos I've made and stuff. I respect his Planet X research, and he's one of the few people I think that probably has a lot of this correct. Maybe not the timing, I don't know, but it is interesting what he's saying. Planet X observations, number 1, Nemesis and Nibiru together. So this article is dated from March this year. So this is a couple months old, but he doesn't put out new stuff all the time. Says the observation at altitude from last November, Nemesis and Nibiru together, first ever. So that's in this video, and I can play this while I'm talking. So let's do that. You'll be able to see it off the wing of the plane there, and then we'll look at an analysis of it. There, you see the sun, and you see another bright, looks like a sun above it. So this is, again, November 2nd, 2022, and pretty interesting, huh? This observation video was submitted to us by the observer who wishes to remain anonymous. It shows Nemesis and Nibiru together. Now, Nemesis is a brown dwarf sun. It's like so we have the sun that we know, and then there's another sun in our solar system, and it's called Nemesis, and it's a brown dwarf. So it's darkened. But what he says here, what Marshall says, is that Planet X isn't really just a planet. It's actually a mini constellation that's moving about through the solar system. So I think that's interesting. It's not just one body that we're talking about. And Nibiru is simply one of the other satellites, or one of the other planets, if you will, in that mini constellation. And so is, according to what Marshall talks about, so is Wormwood. So I sort of thought, I guess, previously that Wormwood was the mini constellation, but I think that is an aspect of the mini constellation, if that makes sense. The man who submitted this observation video while flying south on a commercial jet over Oklahoma. So that's where that video was taken. The compass heading shown is for the iPhone and GPS, and date information is really nice to see. Our image analysis shows the following. So here it is, and they do this by adjusting the gamma. This is the original here, and then this is with the gamma adjusted. You can see it, gamma and brightness level. And it says, I worked with JP Jones on this one after I performed an initial test for fakery. I handed it off to JP, and he found Nemesis, and above it is Nibiru at video marks 2 seconds, 9 seconds, and 17 seconds. Both objects of interest are stable and pass the gamma test. At altitude, such observations yield the best results because these images are typically captured while the observer is flying above the chemtrails layer. Also, iPhones offer better camera systems than Android for these captures. In short, this was the perfect observation to begin this series with. Planet X observation from a moving vehicle. I won't play this one, but it's a guy in a truck who is, well, I guess I can show it. I can show it a little bit. Let me mute it because he's talking the whole time. And you can see as he sort of drives through the trees here, you can see two distinct bodies in the sky. See, very obvious. Says the object of interest is stable and passed the gamma test as shown below. So what they're saying by this, what they're saying by showing this gamma test, is that dot is not a reflection. That's not just a sunspot. It's actually there. So that's what that's about. So that's one article, and then I thought that was interesting. And then this other article here is this one. And the reason I'm bringing all this up tonight is simply because I didn't know that it was ever associated with 2028. And this article is from July of 2020, so it's a bit old now, but it's interesting that he is postulating that Wormwood could show up as early as 2028, or at least be very present in our system by 2028. You guys know what I've been saying about 2028. So I do think it's interesting, and this right here is the, he's saying below is a screen capture I took off of the video. So there's another video here, and it's showing the different bodies, so you have Nemesis and you have some of the other bodies around it. So again, it's a mini constellation. It's not just one planet or whatever. It's actually a collection of planets amongst its own little smaller brown dwarf sun, essentially. So there's more here, and feel free to take a look at this. Planet X and Wormwood says this is largely a Christian topic now, so we have a beginning date for this analysis, July 5th, 2020, which is that's when this article is dated. But where is the omega to this alpha? 2028, and it will be the year of the Wormwood alignment, as I call it. What is Wormwood? Is it not a planet? It is not a planet. It is an asteroid, according to what he's saying. And I think that backs up what Tom Horn is saying as well, that it's an asteroid. And that's what he's saying. It's not a planet. It's an asteroid, a minor satellite of Nemesis, as shown in the imagery above. So that's interesting. And then it talks about this woman who had this dream, which we won't get into that. But there's again, you can go look at this article if you want to. Down here at the bottom, right here, Kepler's law. Now Nemesis is in our northern skies and rapidly building speed as it arcs towards perihelion, the closest point to our sun. It says the Wormwood alignment is where Nemesis will reach its highest orbital velocity point. So, yeah. So the other thing I was going to show you, well, here, let me read the end of this, and then I'll show it to you. It says, talking about this Kepler's law and whip acceleration, talking about how it will accelerate as it gets closer. It says, in 2028, Earth will fly by into the main body of the Planet X system, Nemesis Cloud, which that is what, let me see if I can find it. That's what this is. This is the Nemesis Cloud, a vast debris field, basically, surrounding the Planet X system. So, pretty interesting. And then this is the other thing that really, the reason I'm reporting all this tonight is because I found this. This is one of his, this is one of Marshall's, it's basically a PowerPoint. This is a PDF file I've got pulled up here, but this is one slide from his PowerPoint. It's called the Danger Zone 2024 to 2028. So that's next year. So that kind of fits, with what I'm saying here about this and the timeline. I had 2023 question mark. Now all of a sudden he's saying Danger Zone 2024 to 2028. So this is showing this red ball here is Nemesis, and therefore the Planet X system. So this is where it's at roughly now, which is what we observed in those video clips that we just watched. And then by next year, 2024, they're showing it at perihelion. So that's the closest point to the sun. And then because of Kepler's law, it will accelerate and be this close by 2028. Again, this is a guess, and he says in the article that it's a guess as far as the date goes, 2028. But I do find it interesting based on the timeline that I have been working from, like I've mentioned so many times, that it will be at its closest point to the sun next year some point, according to what he's saying. And by 2028, it will basically be between us and, what is that, Venus. So, wow, that is pretty crazy, and that is very soon. So, feel free to investigate this if you want. I'll provide the links for the, for this PDF as well as the rest of this stuff, the other articles that I mentioned tonight. I think it's really interesting, and the fact that we may be looking at some serious, what would you call that, astral catastrophism, right? In our very near future, in the next few years. So that's what Marshall Masters is saying. I tend to agree with him, and that biblically I think it works out as well. So there's a Substack page if you want to throw your email in there and subscribe. I think most people in chat probably already are, but anyway, thank you guys for subscribing, and I certainly appreciate it. Again, it really helps me, because then if people want the links and stuff, if you don't care about the links, then I guess it doesn't really matter, but if you want the links and stuff for these different articles and a lot of the videos I show and stuff, it's a good way to do that, because I can just send it all out to everybody at one time in an email, and it's very handy, very convenient for me to be able to do that. It saves me time, so feel free to jump on there and do that if you want. And we've got the Diamond Report t-shirts and stuff available. I built that store recently, and I'm very happy with the shirt that I ordered a few days back. Turned out good. And I mentioned Telegram at the beginning of the broadcast. Telegram, t.me/The Diamond Report is where I'm at on Telegram. And then I also have this other page, Take It to the Lord in Prayer. And so if you're on Telegram, please go subscribe there. And I probably will do even more, but earlier today I did a special little short video over on Telegram just to kind of test the system and see how it worked. And now that I kind of know how that works, and it works very smoothly, I think I'll do more of that. So I'll probably do some more broadcasts. It'll be a good backup platform for us. We've been using DLive as a backup anyway in case Facebook kicks me off or YouTube kicks me off. I think Telegram will be a good option. So if you're not already on there, I would advise you can get the app for free, Telegram app on Android or Apple, either one, and install that for free and create an account and send me a contact request. I'm at Diamond Disc on there, and you can also follow those pages, and that's where I will be doing some live streams every now and then. So otherwise, I just put the link in there, and like the BitChute link or whatever in there, and you'll have access to it that way. So, and I know some people really, really love Telegram, and they do everything on there. So there's lots to offer, I think. So anyway, yeah, Diamond Report and End Times Dates on there. And then you guys who are already on the channel already know about this, but End Times Dates, Take It to the Lord in Prayer on YouTube. And then also Rumble and BitChute and Brighteon and ClickView. So yeah, there it is. And so we didn't even really talk about the Antichrist this week. I don't think that there was anything new, but we will certainly do that. Had a lot of people send me videos on, Tim Cohen's been making the rounds. He's been on a bunch of different shows, and he's saying a lot of the same things over and over, and he's using the thing. I'm glad he is about the date adding up to 666. I like that he's using that he found that was useful. I don't know that that anyone else has really said that, so I thought that was kind of cool. And anyway, just know that it is out there. There's some really good interviews. I think Janie Duvall's put up a new Tim Cohen interview in the last few days. So look at that if you want. I didn't pull that up tonight because I had several people send it to me. So I guess it's sort of making the rounds. And I noticed that the Now You See TV guys, those guys are also talking about that Charles looks like he very possibly is going to be the biblical Antichrist. And they're kind of framing it the same way I have as well. Just saying that we can't quite know yet, but it's sure looking like he might be the actual guy. And like I said, I'm like 98, 99% there. And he really just needs to, I think, in order for that to be 100%, there just needs to be a few more scriptural-based things that are fulfilled for that to happen. And I do kind of look for that and expect that. So, as does Tim and so many other people. So anyway, yeah, I guess that's all I had for you guys tonight, unless you guys had any other comments. There's quite a few comments. I don't want to read. I will read through them, but I probably won't do them here on the show and keep you guys here because you guys have been reading them all along.